Back at it again, and I came across this clipping. You guys are definitely going to want to see this. This is some wild stuff right here, and really concerning. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new, and let's dive in.
In American farmland, they steal our technology, but I want to talk to you about the secret biolab run by Chinese with ties to the CCP in Wheatley, California. How many of these secret biolabs exist around the country?
The honest answer is we don't know. And what worries me in doing this investigation, my committee conducted the investigation. We have a bipartisan report that explains the whole thing that Americans can read, is that if the FBI director or the president turned to the FBI director and said, hey, we need to figure out how many of these we have in the United States, they wouldn't even know where to begin. Here we had a Chinese citizen who came to America illegally. He was fleeing a $330 million judgment for intellectual property theft on behalf of the Chinese government. He set up this lab and he was buying dangerous pathogens, including Ebola, including tuberculosis, including HIV, online. So we have no tripwires in place, no safeguards in place in order to prevent potentially a hostile actor from buying dangerous pathogens in order to damage America. And then when the local officials found this, and it was all because a local business building inspector saw a pipe sticking out of what was supposed to be an abandoned building, they called the FBI. The FBI said, well, we can't investigate because there's no ties to WMD, which is absurd. They called the CDC. The CDC hung up on them initially, and it wasn't until the local congressman got on the case that the CDC was forced to send a team to investigate, and that wasn't until many months later. So this has revealed a huge soft underbelly in our domestic national security. It's incredibly troubling.
That is terrible. That's terrible. They allegedly hung up on them and didn't get involved until a local senator got. Oh my goodness. This is the government that we have in place. This is the government that we have running this entire country. These are the folks. People who don't take this type of stuff seriously and just hang up on folks and don't actually do anything about it until they're really forced to. Who knows where any of this stuff could have gone, right? In that amount of time, anything could have happened. Thankfully, hopefully nothing didn't in that amount of time. I haven't heard of anything, but that's just absolutely ridiculous to me. Do your job. Somebody told you about a situation. I get it. They probably get calls all the time about different things. Okay, well, pull up, look inside, go inside, make sure there's nothing. That shouldn't be that difficult to do. I'm sure these organizations and these groups of individuals hire thousands of different people. So it shouldn't be difficult to have a couple of people. Hey, can you go investigate such and such address? We need you to go take a look. There was a call that said that they had some stuff in there. You know, it's easy. I don't know, man. With the amount of money that we're spending, that shouldn't be an issue in my humble opinion. But maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know.
We need to do more to prevent this from happening. We've all seen what can happen to our society when we don't have vigilance against potential pathogens and a pandemic in the last few years. And we know beyond anything else, the one thing that the pandemic should have taught us is that you cannot trust the Chinese Communist Party when it comes to this issue.
And what's the most outrageous part of the story is not just that you have a Chinese biolab in America, which, by the way, why would there be a Chinese biolab here? They can have as many biolabs as they want in China, but it's actually in this country. The fact that the CDC, Congressman, wouldn't go, of course we're going to immediately be on site the very next day to investigate how China could set up this lab, have these kind of bioweapons in the lab. Instead, they hang up the phone and the FBI refuses to investigate as well. It begs the question, did the CDC or the FBI actually know this lab existed? Is that why they didn't come in and investigate?
Well, based on our investigation, they did not know it existed until the local officials discovered it. So the local official, after seeing the pipe, went inside the building and saw a bunch of people in lab coats. Most of them were Chinese citizens, and there were all these vials that were labeled in Mandarin, eventually discovered to be even labeled Ebola or HIV. There was one case where there was a freezer. When the CDC finally did get there, there was a medical grade freezer, and inside were these sort of silver Ziploc bags. And because the bags themselves were not labeled Ebola, though the freezer was labeled Ebola, they refused to even test the sample. So even when they got on site, they refused to actually do their job. Again, it's incredibly troubling. And the guy who owned the facility claimed that he had a medical testing kit business, but it was fraudulent. He had fake pregnancy tests, fake COVID tests, and there's really no business reason for him to be buying pathogens online. And he was getting unexplained wire transfers from China. Over $2 million of unexplained wire transfers from China. Again, incredible.
Wow. Whoever is involved with this whole debacle, right, from the CDC, should all be fired immediately. Should be fired immediately. No questions asked. No questions asked. You put millions of people's lives at risk. Millions. Because you didn't want to do your job. Allegedly, of course. Got to say allegedly. Millions of people's lives at risk because you allegedly didn't want to do your job. Everybody involved with this situation should be fired immediately. Effective now, right? Get called into the matter of fact, you don't even need to get called into any type of office. You get called on your phone. Hey, you're fired. Well, you don't need to explain. You're fired. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that they're getting money allegedly from China, I think that says a lot. Why are you getting money from China? Why are they sending you money? Like, is this an attempt to make sure that you're well funded so that when China says, hey, it's go time, you have enough pathogens in your facility to release them on the American population and cripple the American population so that China can invade? Because once again, I've said this before. Now, this is just all theory, right? I don't have any evidence to back this up. But in my opinion, America can only be destroyed from within. You have to be within America in order to destroy America. No outside force could destroy America. Russia can't invade our shores and win. China can't invade our shores and win. It's just not happening. We all know the famous quote, there's a gun behind every blade of grass, right? And it still remains true to this day. But what you can do is you can get America run thin by involving America in this situation over here, that situation over there. What you can also do on top of that is fund this biolab here, that biolab there, that biolab there. So now when it's go time, when it's time to invade America, or before you invade America, you release these pathogens. Now you've got America in scattered and scared and crippled because you got people sick here, people sick there, and they don't know what's going on because, everybody's getting sick all over the place. Now you invade because we're already run thin. We've already spent buku bucks. Now the population is sick and crippled. Oh, well, easy peasy. At least that's just the theory that runs in my mind when I hear, this kind of stuff going down. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Was I correct? Or do you think I'm correct? Or do you have another theory? Let me know.
Incredibly troubling. We have to do a better job of defending our homeland from a potential attack involving dangerous pathogens.
No doubt. I want to move on to this, Congressman, because the Pentagon has expressed concern about how China has expanded its ground satellites in South America to communicate with their satellites in space, giving them eyes almost up to the United States. This is a problem where the United States has forgotten our hemisphere. China has engaged. They've bought ports, mineral rights, and they're building relationships in our back turf. How concerned are you about the expansion of their presence in our hemisphere?
I'm incredibly concerned. It appears to me that after a couple decades of neglect, we've allowed the CCP to turn the Monroe Doctrine into the Mao Doctrine. And we've had multiple reports. You referenced them buying up port facilities. In terms of the smart cranes that they own, they have something like 90% of the global market share. A lot of that is concentrated in our own ports as well as in ports in South and Central America. We had the report last year of a massive potential spy base to be located in Cuba, and then reports like the one you just referenced. And of course, this phenomenon of sort of pink or leftist red governments popping up all over our southern hemisphere. It's time that we pay attention to our own backyard. For a while, we just got complacent, right? We were lucky to have non-hostile neighbors. We had two oceans surrounding us, and we felt like we had this sense of security in our own backyard. The CCP is now exploiting that complacency in order to encroach on our territory, in my view, as part of an effort to undermine America and displace.
100%. 100%. I'm sure they would love to be on top, right? They would love to be on top. But I do have to put out the theory, maybe with these alleged labs, they just wanted to lessen the risk for themselves. Oh, we can just put them over in America. Americans aren't really paying attention, so if anything did happen, they got to deal with it, not us, That could also be the case, right? It could just be, hey, they're not even paying attention. So let's just put the labs over there. Why put them over here if we don't have to take on that risk? If something leaks, that's on American soil, not ours. Maybe it's innocent. That's a possibility. I doubt it, but I got to throw that out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this in the comment section. I think this is some scary stuff. I mean, you got labs, you got, the possibility of them trying to encroach on our borders. This is just... And then, of course, at the helm here in America, you have, I'll be nice. You have an individual that I don't believe in. I don't think many people actually would believe that Joe can actually get the job done. He doesn't seem like the guy that I would want to march into war behind. Not at all. Not at all. Not in the slightest bit. But like I said, as always, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions on all of this in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.